Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Alex. Who's excited for Big Brother 17? This guy! I've been waiting a long time for this. I can't believe it's almost here. Just a couple more days, and I'm ready. I'm ready to lose sleep. I've had a lot of sleepless nights over the summers that they had Big Brother on and Big Brother After Dark. I watch a lot of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I sleep. I actually don't subscribe to the live feeds like some of you guys do. If I did, then I would never sleep, so I get some sleep. But anyways, can't wait for it. I want to talk about the twist, and then I want to talk about the first impressions of the house guests, and my predictions of who will go far, who will get out fast, and so on and so forth. So the twist is called BB Takeover, and basically what that is that each week they're going to have celebrities, I guess, unleashing these twists on the house, and who really knows for sure what that entails? I really have no idea. But if you think about it, there's only 14 house guests, and I know in previous seasons there's been 16. Before that there's been 14. So you have to think that maybe there's going to be a couple more house guests added to the cast, and I think it might be possible that if it's not during the premiere, I think it's going to be relatively early on into the season where one of these celebrities tells the house guests, oh, by the way, I'm one of those house guests, or by the way, I'm adding another house guest to the show. Who knows exactly how it's going to play out, but that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see former Big Brother players on the show, even if they are on the show for a little while. And so I think that's kind of cool. I think that would be cool. And then, of course, there's going to be celebrities, so it will be players it's going to be people who've never been on the show or played the game. So it's probably going to be a mix. I don't know. It could be interesting. But I just hope that they don't reveal too much information to the house guests, like too much outside information. Probably there's going to be some type of stipulation where they can't say certain things or talk about certain things, but I guess it could be interesting. And depending on the alumni, the Big Brother alumni that show up in the house, it will increase the ratings, at least to some degree. Say, for instance, if it's Frankie Grande, I'm sure at some point he'll be one of those people. So anyways, I wanted to talk about the first impressions of the house guests, and I wrote it down in my notebook here. Okay, we get Audrey. And the thing that I like about her is the fact that, I'm sure it's going to come out during the show, but in the interview that I watched, she didn't talk about the fact that she's transgender. And whether someone's transgender or not doesn't matter. As long as they're a good player and entertaining, that's all that matters to me. But I think it's kind of cool. But I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm sure to other people it's a big deal. But to me, it's not really a big deal. But I think it's cool. So I just want to talk about her strategies and stuff like that. She seems like a strong player. She'd be a strong player, and I could see her getting far into the game. But and she said that she's very social and she wants to get to know people. And I found it interesting that she didn't want to get in showmance, but she wanted to try to set people up. So I think that's kind of cool if she can succeed in that. A lot of times people who get in showmances, they have targets on their back. And so I'm not saying that you can't make it far in the game if you develop a showmance, but it's a lot tougher. So she seems to be a strong player, and I think she's going to go far in the game. I like her. She seems entertaining as well. I don't know if she'll make it to the top 3 or not, but I think she's going to go far in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if she made a top 3, but she's definitely going to at least get jury, probably late jury, maybe even top 3. Okay, Devon Rogers. Now, this is interesting because she's a poker dealer, and there's another house guest I want to get to in a little while. But first I want to talk about her. So she's a poker dealer, and so you got to think that she's going to be good at reading people, most likely, and she encounters all different types of people. She says that she's throwing the first HOH. She wants to be the third person standing. So I think that's kind of a smart strategy because it will show that she's here to play and she's a strong player, and oftentimes a lot of people vote out the weak players early on and put up the weak players. So she wants to show to people that she can make it far in the competition, but at the same time, she doesn't want to win that first HOH and having to make the decision of who to put up and who not to put up. So I think that's pretty smart on her part. I like her a lot. I think she has a good personality, and she's funny, and she's very knowledgeable of the game. She loves the game, and I mean, I think most of these house guests do, but she sounds like she's a super fan of the show. She definitely is, and I think she's going to go far. I really do. I could see her possibly in the top 3, if not late jury. Alright, we got Meg. Actually I want to talk about Vanessa. Now, she's the poker player, and she's made millions of dollars playing poker. So if people find out and recognize her that she's a poker player, that's going to put a huge target on her back. And if anyone recognizes her, it's probably going to be Devon. If it's not her, it's most likely going to be someone else. Someone's going to recognize her in that house. And it's going to be interesting to see how Vanessa deals with that, because most of these people are going to be like, okay, this person has millions of dollars. I don't want this person winning the game. Now, that doesn't mean that she can't make it far in the game, but I don't think she's going to win the game either. Just for that one fact about her. And it kind of sucks because it's unfair, but hey, this game's not fair. And so in that aspect, she's coming in with a disadvantage. It sounds like she's a very knowledgeable player, has a good strategy. She wants to align with the guys, and it looks like she'll be good at a lot of the competitions. But if that fact gets exposed, and most likely it will, it's going to doom her. She's not winning this game, but she is going to help increase the ratings. I'm not saying everyone who's a poker fan is going to be watching the game, but there's going to be people who never really watched the show who's going to be watching the show for her. Kind of like fans of Ariana Grande. They watched the show because her brother was on it. And so Frankie, not to say that he didn't get fans on his own, but he got a huge following through his sister. So it's the same type of thing to some degree. But it's going to be interesting. And, so Vanessa, I mean, I like her, but I can't really see her winning this game once they recognize who she is. But I think, she could still make it far, but she's not winning it. The next person I want to talk about is Meg. She says that she's drama-free, she's good at keeping her cool, she's a loudmouth. I think she did come off as a little annoying, and the thing is that, you're bound to annoy. I don't care who you are, everyone's annoying at times, and if you're living with someone, you're bound to annoy each other. But some people are more annoying than others, and she came off as being pretty annoying, and I could see her getting out early on, maybe making it halfway at best. She says she's throwing the first comp, and she's going to go after the weaker players if she did win HOH. But I don't see her making it too far into the game. Alright, we got Shelly from Georgia. There's a bunch of people from Georgia I've noticed, so who knows, I think maybe some of these players might bond just because of that, because they're from the same state. So, it seemed like she had a hard time answering the questions. She seemed nice, but didn't seem like she was much of a strategic player. I don't see her making it that far. I could see her getting out early on. She seemed kind of boring. Doesn't want an all-girl alliance, not strong enough. That's another thing. With all the girls, they asked, will there be an all-girl alliance? And of course, a couple of the people want an all-girl alliance, and that's cool. but the majority of the women didn't want one or said that they wouldn't work, and that's understandable because they've never worked before in the past. That's not to say that could never happen, but it's very unlikely. And I found it interesting that they were asking that question. They were trying to plant that seed and get people thinking of that idea of having an alliance, to be like, okay, maybe this is the year, but nah, it's not going to be. Most likely, I mean, I don't see it happening. So, again, I don't see Shelley making it very far. Steve, I liked him a lot. He's from New York. Seemed like really intelligent. Had 10 different majors. I'm exaggerating, but young guy. Kind of reminds me of Ian a little bit. Knows the game extremely well. He said he's going to downplay his fandom, which is smart. He said he's going to ask people a lot of questions and do a lot of listening, and that's a smart strategy to get to know as many people as you can and to get to know as many details about people as you can. Smart strategy. He said he's not going to make big moves early on, and that's understandable. And he said that he's just going to try to blend for the first few weeks, and he's going to throw the first competition. And if he somehow by chance won that first competition, he's going to put people up that puts the least amount of blood on his hands. So it sounds like he's a very intelligent player. He's going to be a very social player, but he's afraid to make big moves. It sounds like he's going to be afraid to make the big move, and it sounds like that at some point, maybe not early on, but maybe halfway through, he'll be a pawn. Possibly, but who really knows for sure? I don't know. I'd say he makes it probably midway, maybe a little past midway in the show. He'll make it to jury. That's my prediction. All right, we got James. Now this guy is kind of interesting. He's from Texas, and he's described himself as the first Asian hillbilly. So yeah, this is definitely an interesting personality, I think. Says he's very trustworthy, and that's good and bad because I mean, the thing is that trust is big in this show, but you have to be able to trust the right people and at the right times, and that's hard. It's hard to tell who to trust, who not to trust, and at what specific times to trust them. So it's good and bad. I mean, this is a game of lying and deceiving people as well. So, yeah, I could see him possibly getting taken advantage of if he's too trustworthy. But he also says that he's a beast at competitions, even though he may not look like it. And if that's indeed true, then that's going to work to his advantage because he doesn't look like he's physically a strong player, but it's very possible that he could be. He has a correctional officer and military background, so that's going to definitely help him in physical competitions. And that's also going to help him when it comes to reading people. Most likely. He said in the first HOH he's going to plan on coming in second and then make a deal with the other guy or woman, whoever. And that's an interesting strategy for the first week. So we'll see what happens with that. He says he wants to target big players. And that's cool. I think that's going to make for good TV. And obviously, of course, you want to get big players out of the game. But early on, it's not necessarily the smartest move. And I'm afraid that even though he may be a good player in certain aspects, he might play the game too hard and too fast. My prediction is he's probably going to make it to midway point, so jury for him. But I think he's going to be a very entertaining player to watch. Alright, we got Jason from Massachusetts. This guy says that he's loud and he has a big personality, very friendly, good at endurance challenges, even though he may not look like it. He's one of the smaller guys, if not the smallest guy. Steve is small too, but I think this guy's even smaller. Probably, yeah. And so he's going to use that to his advantage because people are not going to see him as a physical threat. And most likely he's not going to win most physical competitions, but he says that he's really good at endurance competitions. And it seemed like this guy was funny, very intelligent, very knowledgeable of the game. And he said that most likely he's going to align with the women, not the guys, unless if he somehow wins the first HOH. And I see him actually making it to the top 3. I really do. Because a lot of people won't perceive him as a threat, and they're not going to go after him, at least for most of the game. So I think he's going to fly under the radar, and I could see him making it to the top 3, possibly winning the game. So, we'll see what happens with him. Alright, Becky, she's from Colorado, and she's a retail manager, and she said that she's managed 250 people in all these different states and countries and stuff. But she's going to leave out that detail, which is smart because people will think that, okay, she's pretty well off. Let's not give her the money. So it's smart on her part to leave that detail out. She's athletic, good at counting games. And she said maybe on all-girl alliance, but like I said, I don't see it happening. I really don't. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. But I don't see it happening. She said she's going to play a low-key game. She wants to get to know people. Can't make big moves early. Most people, not all, but most of the people are saying that they're not going to make big moves early. And that's smart. For the most part, depending on what the specific twist is, I mean, you never know for sure, but generally speaking, it's smart not to make a big move early. She said she wants a showman, so that could be interesting to watch. I could see her as a strong player. She's nice, but she's also kind of boring. I think she'll make it to the jury, but I don't think she'll make it beyond that. Okay, we got Liz. She's outgoing, big personality, annoying, no filter. And I think that's going to get her in trouble because on one hand, I respect the fact that people say what's on their mind, but on the other hand, it's not always the smartest way to go about things because the thing is that you gotta lie in this game, you gotta deceive, you gotta hold things in at times. And if she's going to say whatever's on her mind, it may be entertaining, it may make for good TV, which is great, but gameplay-wise, that's stupid because she's going to put a target on her back. I see her getting out early on. I can see her annoying a lot of people and rubbing people the wrong way, and she's going to get out early on, maybe even the first week, if not the first. Well, the second week, I think, is when they vote out the first person, but I could see her the first person voted out or second person voted out. But who knows for sure? She also says that she's a fierce competitor. So, I mean, she could win an HOH possibly. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, she says that she's going to win a lot of competitions. But, again, who knows? I think she's going to annoy too many people, in my opinion, and get voted out early. Alright, we got John from Pennsylvania. He's a dentist. Now, this is kind of interesting. He said that he's going to tell people that he's a dentist, and I don't think that's the smartest move on his part, in my opinion, because people are going to figure that he makes a lot of money, and that's going to put a target on his back. Plus, not to mention, he seemed kind of annoying, too. I mean, I hate to judge people in the way they talk, but I think he's going to annoy people. He's kind of funny, but annoying at the same time, and I don't know. It didn't seem like he had much of a strategy, and I think he's going to get out early on. He may make jury, but barely. if he doesn't make jury, he's going to get out the week before jury. I'm going to put him in that area right there. That's my prediction for him. It just didn't seem like he had a smart strategy, and this is another person that I think is going to annoy people. Even though he's a super fan of the game and knowledgeable of the game. Alright, next person, Clay. He's from Texas. He's a grad student. He said that he watched 8 seasons in 3 months, and he claims to be a super fan. Now, I'm not going to say he doesn't know the game, because if you binge watch something, and it sticks, and you comprehend what's going on, you can learn a lot in a short period of time. So, he obviously knows the game. He knows how it's played, even though he hasn't been watching for a long time. But he watched a lot in a short period of time. But I don't think you can't claim to be a super fan if you only just started watching the show for a few months. No, he's not a super fan, but he probably picked up on a lot of things, which is good for his game. He said he played college football, and he said that he's not going to tell people that. He says that he's very social, outgoing, and fun. He's definitely a big physical threat. I could see a bunch of the ladies trying to get in the showmance with him, and a bunch of the ladies are probably going to want to keep him around for that. But as far as strategy goes, this is another guy who didn't seem like he had much of a strategy. So I'm putting him in the jury at best. I like him, but I don't think he's going to go very far into the game. Alright, Jace. He's from Georgia. Another guy, or another person from Georgia. He sounds like he knows the game very well. Well-spoken. He seemed interesting. He kind of reminds me of Hayden from last season, but a guy who's actually knowledgeable of the game. That's the difference. He's unique, outgoing, a leader. He has a lot of energy. He says he's not a quitter. He has a good attitude. He's going to try to win that first HOH. Take out the weaker players. He wants a small alliance. This guy, he sounds like he has a good strategy. I think he's going to make it far. I'm putting him at late jury, maybe top 3. I think it would be kind of cool if the last guy I'm about to talk about is Austin. I'll get to him in a second. If he and Austin teamed up and formed an alliance, that would be pretty cool, I think. Alright, so the last guy, speaking of Austin from California, he's former NXT wrestler, well, WWE NXT wrestler. So he's a beast. He's a big physical threat. He's a super fan. He's really interesting. He's intelligent. And he is very smart about telling people that he had to retire due to injury, even though he's trying to come back. And it's a believable story. And when you're a wrestler in the WWE or NXT, you're also an actor. And what I mean by that, you can deceive. You learn how to deceive or lie, especially if you get time on the mic. You know how to portray a certain image. And so I could see this guy having a couple different sides of his character that he'll be able to portray. And he has that going for him. But I don't think it would be smart on his part to tell them that he was in NXT. The smartest thing is for him to say is that he was an indie wrestler, and I think that's what he's going to say. Anyways, but there's always that possibility that he might slip up and say that that he was this close to making it to the WWE roster. So he is recovering from an injury, which is true. It is true. But at the same time, it wouldn't be smart on his part to be doing backflips. Even if he was joking around, he might have been just joking around. I don't know for sure. But it wouldn't be smart on his part to try to convince people that he's recovering from injury and at the same time do backflips. People are going to see through that. But he seems like a really nice guy. He says he's going to let people come to him to form an alliance with. He's going to be a really good listener and just take in as much information as he can. And I think that's a really smart strategy. He also says that he wants to try to align with big threats. So The longer that other big threats stay in the game, the better for him. And I get that. He wants people to target the other bigger threats or big threats and get that target off his back. He said he's going to talk to everyone. Again, this guy, he seems like a really unique guy, really likable, intelligent, and I hope he goes far. I think it's hard to predict because on one hand, I can see him getting really far in the game. On the other hand, I can see him getting out early on. So my final decision on him, I'm going to make a final decision. I'm going to put him in the top 3. I'm going to put Austin. So I said Austin in the top 3. Jason, I believe. And there's one other person. One other person. Anyways, let me know what you think. If you agree with me, disagree with me. Are you excited about this season? Excited about these house guests? Most of these house guests seems like they're super fans or at least knowledgeable of the game. And most of them seem interesting. A couple of them seem boring, but that's alright. As long as most of them seem interesting, I'm actually glad that most of them are actually knowledgeable of the game, because I hate it when they put players on the show that don't really know much about the game. Yeah, I guess it could make for interesting TV in the aspect that they don't know what they're doing, and that could be entertaining. But overall, I'd like to see players actually playing the game, and I like the fact that a lot of players wanted to be in smaller alliances as opposed to bigger alliances, because it gets boring to watch when you see 4, 5, 6 people in the same alliance, and it gets predictable who's getting voted out each week. Yeah, it still may be fun to watch in certain aspects, but in that aspect, it's boring. So, again, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be making prediction and reaction videos over the course of the season, and I can't wait for Big Brother 17. Thanks for watching.